Hi everyone, welcome to the famous figure series of the Shilpi Chanda show. And today we have Michael Fabber. There's so much to say about him, but I have something very specific that I want to mention. He's an amazing father. He's a loving son. He's a coach, speaker, consultant, author, entrepreneur, strategist. He's an executive director of Joseph Patrick Fabber Memorial Foundation. He's the founder, director, CEO at UnleashU Now. Welcome, Michael, and thank you so much for giving your valuable time to us.
Well, thank you for letting me. I'm honored to be here. Also, you're like the first person ever. I've done a lot of these, and you're the first person ever to mention about being a father and a son. That's the two things I pride myself in most. So
You are so that's maybe because I see you how you work, how you do things. So uh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm like the classic story of you could do everything wrong and still make it. Right?
Okay.
Like I always tell everybody, if I'm here doing this, anybody could be here doing this. Like no one has an excuse not to. It's just we have to decide and commit to make the change, and then take the action to make it. If you want to know about me, I'm the classic screw up every way possible. I was a troublemaker. I did things wrong. I made plenty of mistakes. But yet I'm still here. We still run 8 businesses right now in our corporation. We are starting 2 more, one by the end of this year and one the middle of next year. So you can do it. Like anyone can do it. So
Absolutely. You are a living a proof of that. You are an inspiration. I know how much of effort you make and make a change. Like you are bringing a change in the world, doing such positive work in the community, and you're just leading. You're an amazing coach yourself.
thank you.
Here I have few questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the most fulfilling part of your work?
Oh, that's seeing our people win. Right? Like,
Wow.
when you start working with someone
Mhm.
and you can see all the things they're doing to limit themselves, mindset wise, that creates action wise, right? Or lack of action, or just busy work rather than productive work.
Mhm.
And when it all clicks and they get it, and you see no longer they get it, but then they start winning because they got it, that feeling, that's awesome. So I'll take
Wow.
that's definitely fulfilling.
Wow. It's more like making the other people win. That's
Right.
what gives you joy. Wow. That's amazing. That's
Thank you.
amazing. I know like you always say that you are like I don't know how to even put that. Like you are a self-made man. Let's put it that way. So what like I know there has been many struggles and it's difficult to pick
Mhm.
one. But if you had to just pick one of your struggles and how you overcame it, what that would be.
All right. So I always say I'm just an extreme case of what an ordinary man can do. But if you were one of them, and there's been plenty, but um, so let me preface this by saying I wasn't very good at dealing with things for most of my life. The reason why I got into a lot of things I got into is because I didn't deal with things. Right. My father was an amazing man. He passed away when I was a teenager, but he was an amazing man. We didn't always get along. We don't always see things eye to eye, and we don't always still. I don't agree with everything, of course. I don't agree with everything I've done, so I definitely don't agree with everything anybody else has done. All right. So so let me preface it with that. But we were taught when we were young. My father was heavy military. We were taught that as men, we were never hurt.
Wow.
Right? We were angry. So the first time I experienced hurt, I confused it with anger. Anger is a secondary emotion. So it comes from something else that happens, right? So it's
Absolutely.
the stem of something. It's like a branch
Amazing.
of the tree. It's not the tree. Um, so I refused to acknowledge the tree, and I would acknowledge the branches, right? And so I spent like 12 to 30 angry, right? And that was the stem of a lot of the problems I had was came from that thinking, that
That,
mindset.
that mindset. Mhm.
All right. So at 30 years old, one of my best friends took his own life.
Wow.
And it was
So
the
sorry
second
to hear.
time or third
Yeah.
time suicide has been relevant in my life. My brother's one of the 22 that served the country that took his own life daily. He
I'm
took his
so
own life as
sorry.
well. I had friends I lost to self-induced behavior, drugs, and then self-harm. So
Wow.
why this one I'll say is because I didn't deal with the other ones. I just got angry, right? Because I was hurt. And so I had this hurt like stuck deep within me that kind of was like the roots. It became my soil. So like all the roots grew from
Mm,
this anger, which is definitely not a good
absolutely.
equation for positive to happen. Right. So after he passed, like that fake reality I created around it all
Mhm.
shattered. And I was kind of forced to deal with everything, which again, I'll say I didn't do very well. All right. I got into pills, heavier booze, and I was a maniac. And I ended up on the beach in Lewis with a gun in my mouth, and the gun wouldn't go off. Spoiler alert, clearly I'm here. And I was just like, dude, I just want to end it really. But then I don't know how much you know about my story. My daughter was the reason why I changed my life to begin with. I was 20 years old and I found out I was going to be a dad. And it happened to be the same time I got shot at and I beat my last case in court that I was facing charges. I was facing over 20 years. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm just going to go be dad. Right. Like, I don't want her to have to go through what I went through and having a rocky relationship or losing her father young. So I didn't want her to see me dead or in jail. All right. So I was like, I'm just going to go be legit, do the right thing, and go be dad. That didn't mean I dealt with anything. It just meant I was going to leave and go be dead. I thought that was dealing with something, but it wasn't. Right. Um, and so I'm sitting on the beach with this gun, and a picture of my daughter falls out of my pocket. It's the same reason why I stopped the trouble and the risky lifestyle to begin with, and yet I was here again. And her again is the reason why I stayed around. And after that, I was like, I'm gonna go find myself, right? Because that's what us in personal growth. Like, as soon as you find you, you're good. But sometimes I'm a literal thinker. So when you're like, I gotta go find me, I think I'm hiding somewhere out there. All right. So I like went and looked behind every tree and in every bush and under every rock to figure out where I was, kind of thing. And what you learn is that you're not out there, you're in here.
In here. Absolutely.
Right. And I think that that journey of having that happen, which then exploded all the other things I never dealt with, um, really sprungboard me into purpose. Right. Before that, I was good at business. I made money. I had the fancy cars, fancy houses, right? All the things that you think people care about, but no one actually really cares about. Right. Like they forget in a heartbeat, like, wow, nice house. And then like 3 days later, they don't even remember your house. Right. And but to you, you're like, everybody will think I'm something. So it's okay that I don't think I'm it. Right. So that was me. And I think that made me that was the beginning of the journey of making me get comfortable with me and want to stand in my purpose, my passion, my being. Um, so I always like, there's a basketball coach when I was younger. I was supposed to be good at basketball, and I was for a little while, but then I didn't make the NBA clearly. And I even have a number still tattooed on my back because I thought I was going to be in the NBA,
Oh,
and then
wow.
I never was. Right, so it's embarrassing. But everybody's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "I don't know." The a basketball coach once asked, "Did anyone breathe easier because you existed?" Right.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, the answer was no. But here's the deal. When you live in your purpose, you're a byproduct of that is people breathing easier because you're here. So
Wow.
that
That's
would
such
be,
a beautiful thing to know, to imbibe, to learn.
thank you. But I would say
Make life easy.
that was the biggest thing.
Wow. I'm like awestruck with this sentence itself. Like, make people's life breathe easier, life
You know?
easier. So you yourself, you have struggled so much. You have come up like, I don't know, like a rocket, you are like up like a fountain, now blooming and brightening so many people's life. So who do you think is your role model, or a
Oh,
person you would think, your mentor or your guide, or you'd really look up to?
oh, my number one would be my mom.
Ah,
It was funny growing up. I always thought my dad was like the toughest person I've ever met.
mm-hmm.
Just a strong dude. He was an ox. Like this dude was military but I've seen him. I mean, this guy was tough. He was a fighter, physical. Anyone around him gave him respect because they knew that if they didn't, it would probably be a bad move, right? Like there was something that was going to happen, right? And my dad wasn't loud, like, and he wasn't like vulgar or anything where it would like you would think that he would have to be like that. He never showed it. You just knew he was it, right? And I always was like, man, that's so cool. Like I want to be like that, right? Like, and then as I grow older and I realize more, right? And you things you didn't notice, you now notice.
Notice,
All
true.
right. And my mom held our family together. I have 3 older brothers, 2 older sisters. And then think my mom beat health issues like numerous times. She had cancer multiple times
Wow.
and different heart issues and muscular issues. And she's still here doing crazy things, right? Like she's still like starting businesses and stuff. I'm like, what the hell? Right? Like you're like
Wow.
73, take a breath, right? Like take whatever life you want. Well, I got the rest of this. Like you're okay. She has 2 doctorates. All right.
Wow.
From school. She went to school for 12 years and has 2 doctorates. I went to school for 18 years and I don't have a degree. Isn't that weird? I was like, I don't know. I think I did this wrong. Right.
No, that's
The
that depends on how people use their time, you see.
I was like, one of us, I guess you could argue one of us did it right. Who did it right is your opinion. Um,
Yeah.
but then to bury the love of her life way before she expected, to bury a son, I couldn't even imagine burying a kid.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I would say my mom, she's brilliant. She's done it in the business world. She did it in the education world. She's done it in the mental health world. She did it in the parent world. All right. I've never seen someone go so hard, put in the time, grind, right? Like hustle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why when people, I always like get a little chuckle when people are like, yeah, but if you hustle or grind, then you can't fulfill all the other parts of your life. And I was like, only if you do it wrong. Right? Like if you understand your priorities while you hustle and grind, you can do it right. But you just have to understand
Absolutely.
your priorities.
Absolutely.
So if I had to pick one, I would say my mom, hands down.
Mhm. So you are like you're so famous with what you do. You're well known with the area of coaching and other businesses and everything. So what do you think is the secret sauce for your success? You being so successful, everyone knows you, they talk about you, they follow you, you're mentoring so many people, you take people to retreats and do so many stuff. So, what do you think is your secret sauce to success?
God, I wish there was like one thing that I could say that's like, this is how success happens, right? That'd be so easy, right?
I know.
Like, just do this. Oh, got
Okay,
it, right?
got it.
Um,
Noted.
the uh one, and it's hard to remember right now because it's the era of gurus. There's so many gurus, right?
True.
Self-proclaimed gurus, self-proclaimed experts, right? Like I try not to use words when describing me like those because we're not supposed to pick that we're something. The people get to pick that,
True.
right? The people get to pick who their gurus are. They get to pick who their experts are. They get to pick who their leaders are. They get to pick it.
So
We don't get
true.
to pick it,
So true.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't want to be like, yo, I'm your guru, right? Like that sounds weird, right? I'm your expert. Like what? I mean, like I don't even know what that means. Because I know people that have done things for a long time and are still bad at them. Right. So like I don't really, I mean, you're an expert at doing it badly. So sure. Right. Um, so with
But still, if you have to, suppose someone comes to you with the area that you follow, like a coaching or,
mhm, mhm.
a consultant or mm, being a speaker. So, what is one thing that you would like to tell them, rather?
The hardest thing to do nowadays, and I think it's the most important for quicker rise to success or levels of which you want to be successful at, would be to don't model who is. You can model what, don't model who,
Wow,
right?
that's amazing. Yes, yes,
Yeah, you got to be you.
you got it.
um and I think one of the biggest things that made my journey longer was because I thought they wanted me to be what everybody already was. So I wore the 3-piece suits. All right. I did all the things that they said. I had all these like I had your one great speech that you're supposed to give. Like, that's all you ever have to say. And finally, I was just like, you know what?
This is
I've
me.
done this to this level, not being me. So now let's see what I can do being me.
Absolutely.
And so I would
Absolutely.
just say, like, I know it's cliche sounding and it's like popular words, but who are you? First answer that for you. Who are you? And are you willing to be seen as it? Because if you're not willing to be seen as it, it's gonna be a rough road.
Very powerful. Very powerful. I think for the audience who really are struggling in between, they
Mm-hmm.
want to portray this and they are this, the confusion. I think now today they will at least be streamlining what they really want and how they want to be the image. And there is always the difference between the image and the real you. The closer you can
Mm-hmm.
bring the two, the peaceful you are. So
All
true.
right.
So true. You have given such amazing, amazing thoughts and information and valuable insights. So, with all the heavy talk, now I have some rapid fire, some amazing questions for you. Ready? You don't have
Yes,
much
ma'am.
time for it. Okay. So, if you get a vacation, would you choose the mountain or the sea beaches?
Sea beaches.
Ah, good. So, if magic happened, you slept and you woke up, what would you see?
Magic happened. I would
Mhm.
see the galaxy, like the universe.
Wow. Okay. So, and the third, what is the most important thing for you today at this moment?
Love. It's always
Well,
love. Love.
oh, love. I thought you said wealth. That might be
No.
because,
Well, wealth, love is part of wealth.
yeah.
But I would say, like, you lived. If at the end of the day you can say you loved and you were loved, then you lived.
Wow. That's beautiful. Yes. That's that is why maybe the part where your relationships are so important to you, not only
Mm-hmm.
personal but even professional. How you lead people, how you mentor them, how you
Mm-hmm.
coach them, how you give them the spirit to win over things, win in
Right.
their lives. I
It's a gift
think
and a
that's
curse. Gift and a curse.
I think, yeah, giving is tough. Giving is not easy
Yeah.
because it's one of the toughest thing, not tough, I would say, but it is one of the most not seen things.
Right.
People give and it's not very visible to everyone that someone is giving so much.
Right.
But
Also, when you're a big giver, when you care and you love and you give and you pour, sometimes lines are blurred. Right. And I have to remember sometimes that's me, but they could be completely different and be like, this means nothing to me what you're doing. And I have to be okay with that because
true,
that's
true.
them. Right now, that
Wow.
I can mean not pouring to them like that, but it's I have to be okay with that. You said something earlier. Can I take 1 second to address something you said earlier?
Absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right, cool. I know we're up against time, but you said self-made, and I want to clarify that. I would not be here today if it wasn't for a bunch of people.
Wow.
Right. So one, I never want to take credit for something that it wasn't mine.
Wow.
There's a whole bunch of people that played a hand in me being here. What I mean by self-made was that you yourself answer for who you are and for who you're becoming. You make yourself. You don't let society, culture, politics, religion, whatever it is, make you. You are willing to forge yourself and answer for what you forge. I think that's like the biggest flex you can have is that you decided how to live your life and who you were and who you were going to become, and you own all of it. That's powerful to me.
Wow. True, true. I think for me, the word self-made, yeah, it has so many different perspectives. For me, when I meant self-made, I mean that no matter how much help you have, until unless you pick yourself up and put it out there, nothing
100%.
changes. Nothing changes.
100%.
So, like how much I know you, or from the conversation we had, I really understand how much you have built yourself.
Thank you. I
Maybe
appreciate that.
taking help, I think that's an intelligent thing to do, taking help, but still you are the one who is pulling yourself up and
Yes, ma'am. 100%.
pushing yourself. Absolutely, I so can sense it, and I know it actually from the conversations and all that.
Yes, ma'am.
So one thing, if someone wants to communicate with you or contact you because you're a coach, you do retreats and all those stuff. So how do people reach out to you? What is the best way to reach out to you?
You can find me on any social media site. I'm either Michael Faber or the coach Mike Faber. You can probably find both on every social media. Also, literally on Facebook. My cell phone number is public. My
Okay.
email's public.
Okay.
I always say you're not in this alone, and you're not a burden. And to prove that, I will put my information out there for if you need someone, you can't think of anyone else, or you don't want anyone else, I'll be there.
Wow, absolutely. I think it is so amazing to know how people can, from the struggles to where they can shine and make not only difference in their lives, but in other lives as well. You are a living example of that. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for your time. I really thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and your time. Thank you so much for giving your time. And to audience, if you have any question, feel free to mention your question. We will get back to you. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.